That's what we're called to. That's humility. You know, that's something that's frustrating at times, but that's reality. And maybe instead of worrying about the size of their faith, the disciples, perhaps these Jesus followers should just get on with living it out in obedience to Jesus' command. Just get on. Just do it. And we know, I mean, we're seeing one part of the story, but we know how it ends, at least up until this point in history. And they did get on with it. They did through sufferings. They did through obstacles. They did through defeats. They did through martyrdom. Many did go on and gave us clearly a heritage to move on despite the struggles, despite the obstacles. If you have but just the faith of a mustard seed. Some of you are aware, and I just want to repeat it again, and in the back of the church hanging on the bulletin board, you will find a leaflet, FKOC, Florida Keys Outreach Coalition, Florida Keys Outreach Coalition. And what it gives is, it's not complete, but it gives some little vignettes, and it's called Florida Keys Outreach Coalition, and it's Mission Moments. Mission Moments. And I share this because I think very clearly it speaks of how something small in faith can turn into something grand. And 2 years ago, St. James opened their doors and people started meeting here in the Upper Keys to try to address the needs of the Upper Keys. And some people come here to visit and to travel, and it is a place of paradise, and it is wonderful, and it's fantastic. But there's poverty. There's people one check away from being homeless. There's people that need help with their electricity. There's a number of things that have happened. And just around this time a year ago, because of efforts led by St. James the Fisherman and other churches and institutions in the community, an office opened from Florida Keys Outreach Coalition that has their main office in Key West that's been in operation 20 years. And money is now flowing into the Upper Keys. And people have been helped. And it continues. And there's a number of wonderful vignettes. I'd just like to read one to you. And it says here, a single woman had been waiting for a placement in an affordable housing apartment for 5 years. When she finally got notification that a unit was available, but due to the ongoing high cost of her current rent, she did not have the required security deposits and first month's rent to be able to move in. FKOC was able to assist with these costs. This allowed her to move into what will be more affordable housing, saving up to $250 a month. She will now be able to save and be prepared, perhaps, for some unexpected costs. Something that happened due to people coming together in faith. Mother Teresa once said, our calling is not to do great things, but to do small things with great love. Not to do great things, but to do small things with great love. Each and every one of us has that calling. Each and every one of us has been given that gift of faith. We need to nurture it. We need to nurture it each day. You know, it's interesting. Our brothers and sisters within the Jewish faith are coming together today to celebrate New Year, Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. And they will blow the shofar 4 times this evening. And then each morning for the next 10 days until Yom Kippur, when the Day of Atonement, And between now and then, do you know what they're supposed to be doing? Anybody? Praying. Day of Atonement, okay? They're supposed to be looking at their sinfulness, looking at what needs to be nurtured from within. They're also supposed to be looking at their relationships with their family, with their spouses, with their siblings, with their children, with their church, with their families larger. And between the blowing of the shofar today and the blowing of the shofar on Yom Kippur, they literally are supposed, a devout Jew is supposed to go and reconcile self. That's where we get the phrase, turn the page. Because they make a reference on Yom Kippur to the book of God. And that we are now turning the page and your name is in the book. Because you have reconciled. You have reconciled. And you can move forward. Are our names in the book? It's a challenge that they give. And devout Jews would move forward with this very, very especially during these days. We have other New Years. We're going to be getting ready shortly to begin Advent. Amazing. A new liturgical year for us in our Christian faith. But you know what? We as sons and daughters of God have the opportunity to begin anew each day. To begin anew each day. To be able to turn that page each day. If we are but open to receive God's grace, and to live God's grace, and to share it. To just do it. And blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has chosen us from among all nations, raised us above all tongues, and made us holy through his commandments. And you, Lord our God, have given us in love this Shabbat, this holy day, this day of remembrance, the festival of the Holy Assembly, the day of remembrance of the sounding of the shofar in love. A holy assembly commemorating the exodus from Egypt. For you have chosen us and sanctified us from among all the nations. And your word, our King, is true and enduring forever. Blessed are you, Lord King over all the earth, who sanctifies the Shabbat, the holy day, and Israel, and the day of remembrance. And they all said, Amen. And they all said, Amen. Blessed are you, Lord, King of the universe, who sanctifies each and every one of us and calls us to remember your faithfulness, that we may be people of faith, a faith that calls us to love, to forgive, and to act justly, not seeking any other reward besides your tremendous love, your healing, and your reconciliation. And they all said,